It really became super exciting for the last 2 days as we tackled complex internet issues and system outages due to the fire down in Baltimore. Honestly, it was too much excitement for me. I'm Rohini Gupta, Adult Learning and Innovation Specialist, and I'd like to acknowledge the fantastic instructors at the Central Branch, whom you will be listening to shortly. A thank you to Zenaida Serbegovich from the East Columbia Branch, who is managing our tech today. This event is being recorded, and the recording will be available on our YouTube channel after about a week. After the event, we will send out an email with the books for discussion list and other resources. Meanwhile, please add your comments and questions in the chat. We love hearing from you, and remember to toggle to everyone when you are using the chat so everybody can enjoy and reply to your comments.
HCLS Land Acknowledgement. We want to respectfully honor the Susquehannock Confederation who governed, lived, farmed, and hunted on the land now called Howard County. Their nations conceded into land treaties in 1652 and 1661 after English colonizers entered their generational governance and stewardship of the land Howard County is built upon. This practice of land acknowledgement is to honor and respect the indigenous inhabitants, both from the past and the present.
And now, before we start, please mark your calendar for 2 amazing upcoming events. The Swans of Harlem, 5 Black ballerinas, 50 years of sisterhood, and their reclamation of a groundbreaking history. The Swans of Harlem performed for the Queen of England, Mick Jagger, and Stevie Wonder on the same bill as Josephine Baker at the White House and beyond. Yet, decades later, there was almost no record of their groundbreaking history to be found. Out of a sisterhood that had grown even deeper with the years, these swans joined forces again to share their story with the world. Hear the story from Sheila Rohan, founding member of the Dance Theater at Harlem, and that is on October 9th at 7 p.m. at the Miller Branch. After that, on October 17th, again at 7 p.m. at the Elkridge Branch, we are hosting Space Shuttle Stories with astronaut Tom Jones, presented by Howard County Library System in partnership with the Maryland STEM Festival and the Howard Astronomical League. Astronaut Tom Jones provides a definitive look into the spirit, challenges, enjoyment, and faith that accompanies Earth orbit exploration. Space Shuttle Stories takes us inside the lives, the risks, and the dedication of those men and women who are reaching for the stars. And that is on October 17th, 7 p.m. at the Elkridge Branch. And now, passing it on to Angela.
Thank you very much, Rohini. And my name is Angela Best. I'm the Assistant Branch Manager at the Central Branch here in Columbia. My pronouns are she, her. When the books for discussion lists are compiled, we ensure that they include a variety of genres, authors, themes, characters, periods in time, and settings. Fiction, nonfiction, and biographies are always included. This is to ensure that our community book clubs have the support and resources needed to be successful. We suggest titles and authors. We offer resources for discussion preparation, and we help you place reserve requests on your account and suspend them. The books included on the Books for Discussion list are those available to our customers between September last year, 2023, and August this year. There are at least 6 copies owned by HCLS and at least 1 copy at each branch. Tonight's format is as follows. Presentations will be made in 4 rounds. For the first 3 rounds, we will each present 1 book from the 2025 Book for Discussion list. For the final round, which we call the wild card round, each instructor has made an effort to introduce some titles as surprise considerations for your book clubs. These titles may or may not be on the Books for Discussion list. So we're going to give the name of the book, we're going to give the author, and whether or not it's a fiction or non-fiction title. Another thing we're doing this evening is we're also promoting various HCLS-led book clubs. Howard County Library System has many book clubs that are facilitated by our adult instructors. And some of the book clubs are in person, others are online only, while others are hybrid. So you can decide whether you're going to come in and be in person or if you're going to join online. As Rohini said earlier, following tonight's session, you will receive the list that you see here on the screen, the 2025 Books for Discussion list. You're also going to receive our specially prepared Book Club Resource Guide, which addresses Howard County Library System online resources and general book club resources from the internet. And that resource guide is also going to include book review journals and websites. And the last thing you're going to receive following tonight's presentation would be the slideshow that you're seeing right now. And you will get all of those following tonight's session. So after that long introduction, shall we begin? Round one. So my first book is The Worlds I See, Curiosity, Exploration, and Discovery at the Dawn of AI by Dr. Fifi Lee, nonfiction. This is one of the library's many titles on artificial intelligence, which is a growing topic of importance and influence in the world. Dr. Lee, who was a trailblazing computer scientist, outlines her experiences as an immigrant from China and chronicles her high school and college experiences in physics as a student at Princeton. She began the project that became ImageNet and is currently the co-director of Stanford's Human-Centered Artificial Intelligence Institute. She has worked and collaborated with Google and other private companies. She's also worked with several state and federal agencies and was a special advisor to the UN. Themes of human interaction, personal support systems, the immigrant experience, innovation, science, curiosity are all within the book. The Worlds I See by Dr. Fifi Lee.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michaela Baxter, and I'm an instructor and research specialist at the Central Branch. My pronouns are she, her. My first pick is Real Americans by Rachel Kong, fiction. Real Americans begins in New York City on the brink of Y2K, where Lily Chen, a financially struggling unpaid intern at an online travel magazine company, falls for the charming and wealthy Matthew, heir to a pharmaceutical empire. Years later, her son Nick, feeling out of place in their home in Washington state, suspects his mother is hiding something. His search for his biological father leads to unexpected discoveries and strains their family bonds. As Nick uncovers hidden truths, he and Lily must confront their past and redefine their understanding of who they really are. Real Americans by Rachel Kong. And next, I would like to speak to you about one of our book clubs here at Howard County Library System, the Reading Cafe. Dip into a different genre each month, followed by a lively discussion with the Reading Cafe book discussion group. This book is held in person at the Glenwood branch on the last Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. Upcoming titles include The Drowning Kind and The Frozen River. Learn more about this book club and register online at hclibrary.org.
Hello, everyone. My name is Wendy Camisar, instructor and research specialist at the Central Branch. My first pick is James by Percival Everett, fiction. When enslaved James overhears he's about to be sold to a man in New Orleans, separating him from his wife and daughter, he decides to hide on nearby Jackson Island until he can come up with a plan. Meanwhile, Huck Finn has faked his own death to escape his violent father. And as readers of American literature know, a dangerous journey by raft down the Mississippi River ensues, lured by the unreliable promise of the free states and beyond. This provocative retelling of one of America's greatest literary classics by one of the most decorated writers of our time is sure to have your book club talking this fall. James by Percival Everett.
My name is Emily. I'm an instructor and research specialist here at the Central Branch. My pronouns are she, her. My first round pick is Margot's Got Money Troubles by Rufie.
Emily, could you be a bit louder, please?
Got Money Troubles by Rufie Thorpe. Fiction. 20-year-old Margot is just scraping by, juggling community college and an unfulfilling waitressing job. But when an affair with her older, married English professor leads to pregnancy, she learns that money troubles may turn out to be the least of her worries. Against the advice of many, Margot keeps the baby. She stumbles through single motherhood and begins selling risque photos online to provide for herself and her newborn son. Equal parts funny and thought-provoking, this book is the perfect pick for book clubs that want to discuss something light but not too fluffy. Thorpe handles topics like sex work, single motherhood, and addiction with empathy, care, and a healthy dash of humor. The characters are complex, and their imperfections make them super endearing. You will certainly root for them as they endure their troubles, financial and otherwise. Margot's Got Money Troubles by Rufie Thorpe.
Hi, I'm Angie Engels. I'm an instructor and research specialist here, and my pronouns are she and her. The Ministry of Time by Cullen Brady, fiction. Get ready for a wild ride through time and love in this quirky science fiction adventure. When the UK government cracks the code for time travel, they pull a few lucky souls from the past, including Commander Graham Gore, a dashing 19th century naval officer. But modern life is a whole new ocean for him, and who better to show him the ropes than our heroine, who only known by the mysterious government name as the Bridge. As the Bridge teaches Graham about mind-boggling concepts such as modern toilets, dating, and the wonders of class mobility, the sparks fly and the chemistry simmers. And there's a great cast, including Margaret from the 17th century, who is starting to embrace her identity, and Arthur, an endearing man who is shy about his feelings for Graham. But Graham and the Bridge explore their relationship amidst other things as they stumble upon a mind-bending time travel conspiracy that will change everything. With laughs, love, and a dash of mystery, this enchanting tale will sweep you off your feet. The Ministry of Time by Cullen Brady. Think about joining Hush Hush, a quiet reading group that meets in person at the Miller Branch. Bring a book and enjoy 1 hour of peace and quiet and reading, with an optional 15 minutes of mingling at the end. There is no assigned reading and no pressure to socialize, and all readers are welcome. Meetings are held every first Wednesday at 7 p.m., and it's a chance to get away from it all and be in a quiet but comforting surrounding.
Hello, I'm Roslyn, and I'm also an instructor and research specialist at the Central Branch. My first pick is The Frozen River by Ariel Lawhon, fiction. This book is inspired by real-life midwife Martha Ballard, who lived in 18th century New England. She delivered over 1,000 children and miraculously never lost a mother and child. She also kept a meticulous diary, recording every birth, every death, every murder, every scandal in the riverside town of Holloway, Maine. It is this diary that inspired Frozen River. In the book, Martha, who's not only the midwife, but also the town's doctor and coroner, must determine the cause of death of a man found in the river. This causes a series of impactful events, and in her quest for truth and justice, Martha risks her own life and that of her family. Lahan's vivid writing will transport you to 1789 Maine. It's a gripping mystery, and this story was beautifully raw and dark at times, but it was also hopeful and inspiring. The Frozen River by Ariel Lahan.
Hello, my name is Ash Baker. My pronouns are they, them, and I am the last instructor and research specialist from the Central Branch, rounding out the panel here. My first title is City of Laughter by Tamim Fruchter, and this is about a small Eastern European town, a mysterious shape-shifting stranger, and an intergenerational tale of secrets and superstitions. Shiva Margolin wants to know more about her family, particularly her maternal grandmother, whom her mother refuses to talk about. Grieving the death of her father and feeling stuck in a quarter-life crisis of sorts, Shiva throws herself into studying Jewish folklore in the hopes of better understanding her family's history. Thanks to a grant offered through her master's program in Jewish studies, she gets the opportunity to visit Poland, her great-grandmother's homeland, and continues to search for answers. Alternating in perspective between different family members, Fruchter combines both real and imagined folk tales to portray Jewish culture, faith, and community in a magical, hopeful light. If you've ever longed to communicate with your ancestors and understand how the past shapes the present, journey into the City of Laughter by Tamim Fruchter. And that concludes our first round. We are now going back to Angela for our second round of title discussions.
You're on mute.
Thank you very much, Ash. Sorry about that, Mike. My second book, Coleman Hill by Kim Coleman Foote, fiction. Interestingly, some of the characters in the novel are her actual relatives, while the others are fictional. Similarly, the storyline contains some truths about her family and some elements from her imagination. The relationships between two families across 3 generations is included in the novel. The families moved from the South to New Jersey, and their stories are told over 70 years by various family members, from 1916 to the late 1980s. When reading the book, many of the voices actually transport you back to the period in which the events are taking place. Issues of intergenerational trauma, friendships, secrets, and family are among those addressed. Coleman Hill by Kim Coleman Foote. And now I'm going to be looking at our HCLS non-fiction book clubs. So our instructors actually facilitate 2 book clubs dedicated to non-fiction titles. They are both hybrid book clubs and therefore operate online and within the branches. The non-fiction book club meets at the Savage branch on the 3rd Wednesday of every month. And their next meeting's on the 16th of October, and they'll be discussing The Country of the Blind by Andrew Leland. Andrew. Nonfiction Addiction meets at our East Columbia branch on the 3rd Thursday of every month. And on the 17th of October, they'll be discussing Solito by Javier Zamora. Check out our website for future titles.
My next pick is This Strange Eventful History by Claire Massoud, fiction. Inspired by stories from her family's history, this book is an epic, multi-generational tale that follows the lives of a French-Algerian settler family exiled after the Algerian War of Independence. The Khazar family, uprooted from Algeria, moves across continents over the course of 7 decades, grappling with the weight of their colonial past, cultural displacement, and deeply held personal secrets. As they navigate their lives in France and beyond, they struggle to find belonging while carrying the legacy of colonialism. This author's lyrical prose brings to life a family saga of identity, loss, and survival, painting a vivid picture of how history shapes us across generations. This Strange Eventful History by Claire Massoud.
Okay, up next, The Cliffs by J. Courtney Sullivan, fiction. If the central character of The Cliffs is an old Victorian house that sits high above the ocean in Maine, then the protagonist is Harvard researcher Jane Flanagan. Jane returns to her hometown, the site of the mysterious house. After a disastrous mistake at a work party, she's put on leave from both her job and her marriage. In an effort to fill her days, she begins documenting the history of the house for the new owner. Through the stories of generations of women who live there, Jane begins to understand her own story. Perfect for book clubs who enjoy discussing mysteries and historical fiction. The Cliffs by J. Courtney Sullivan.
Right. My second pick is Bright Young Woman by Jessica Knoll, fiction. Florida State University, 1978. A notorious serial killer targets a sorority house, murdering 2 women and leaving 2 more gravely injured. And though this is based on a true story, this is not your typical fictionalization of true crime. The killer will find no glory here. In fact, he's cast aside only to be known as the defendant. Jessica Knoll chooses instead to focus on the victims, the survivors, and the loved ones they left behind. We follow 2 women, each grappling with trauma brought on by the defendant. Pamela is the sorority's president. She's forever haunted by the massacre that left her best friend dead. Meanwhile, Tina wonders if her missing partner, Ruth, might also be an undiscovered victim of that same killer. Knoll is thoughtful and intentional in her depiction of the traumas and horrors that befell the bright young woman at the center of the novel. She boldly subverts the mythology and obsession with serial killers, shifting the power back to the women whose stories often go unamplified. As one book page reviewer remarks, this book is a primal scream for women past and present. Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. And if you are a fan of mysteries, thrillers, and true crime, you should be sure to check out Elkridge's book club, Murder, Mischief, and Mayhem, for lively discussions of both fiction and nonfiction works pertaining to all things mysteries. Upcoming titles include The Frozen River, The Princess of Las Vegas, and Maisie Dobbs. And this group meets in person on the 4th Thursdays of the month from 7 to 8 p.m. But if you're interested in joining, just know that some of the holiday months, so November, December, have their meetings on the 3rd Thursday due to the holidays. You can find more information and register online at our website.
All the World Beside by Gerald Conley. In 18th century Puritan New England, the lives of Reverend Nathaniel Whitfield and physician Arthur Lyman intertwine in a deeply moving love story. Set against the backdrop of the Great Awakening, this novel explores the complexities of love, faith, and identity in a time of religious fervor and societal upheaval. Nathaniel and Arthur's bond transcends the boundaries of their rigid community, challenging the very fabric of their existence. Arthur's love is pure and insistent, while Nathaniel is deeply tortured through guilt, and even as he acknowledges that he also feels love for Arthur. Defying the contemporary mantra, it gets better, All the World Beside is not afraid to explore what it would be like back then, when there weren't even words for people who had feelings for other people of the same gender. With echoes of Nathaniel Hawthorne's Scarlet Letter, All the World Beside is a testament to the enduring power of love and the courage it takes to defy convention. It is a story that will resonate with anyone who has ever sought to find their true self in a world that doesn't acknowledge everyone and demands conformity. All the World Beside by Gerald Conley.
You Are Here by David Nichols, fiction. If you read Nichols's hit One Day, You Are Here will not disappoint. He again creates vulnerable and relatable characters that you will fall in love with. In this story, a group of people hike coast to coast through England together. Among them are 2 broken individuals, 38-year-old Marnie, who finds JOMO, or joy in missing out, and is suspicious of nature, and 42-year-old Michael, a loner who loves his quiet walks. It is post-pandemic, they are coming out of solitude, and they are both dealing with separation or divorce. We follow their interactions cross country, where we also fall in love with Northern England, the crisp and wet weather, the quirky hotels, and towns with personality. Nichols also has a gift for creating authentic characters and for blending humor with poignant moments with witty and sharp banter. This potentially could be an awful experience, walking with strangers. But what if it's exactly what they need? And perhaps this book is exactly what you need too. You Are Here by David Nichols.
My second title is The Other Olympians, Fascism, Queerness, and the Making of Modern Sports by Michael Waters. Gender anxieties about sports are nothing new. In fact, they date back over a century, as this book digs deeply into. For example, did you know the idea of mandatory medical exams to prove the womanhood of female athletes was first popularized by a Nazi sports physician in 1936? That far back. Michael Waters digs into the history of the Olympics, exploring the complex social, cultural, scientific, and political forces in the early 20th century that impacted where and by whom sports could be played. Whether you're interested in athletics, politics, or gender, you're sure to glean knowledge from this very well-researched book. This is a great read for all history lovers who relish in learning those little-known facts that are woven together in both personal and national narratives, as well as anyone who's concerned or confused about current culture wars surrounding women's sports and gender nonconforming athletes. The Other Olympians, Fascism, Queerness, and the Making of Modern Sports by Michael Waters. And that concludes this round of recommendations. I would like to highlight some of our online book clubs. While some of our other book clubs have hybrid options, these four meet exclusively on Zoom. So Eclectic Evenings is one of the ones that is facilitated by Central Instructors rotating. That is on second Tuesdays. And as the name of each of these kind of implies, this one is just an eclectic mix of both fiction and nonfiction titles. The next discussion title will be Bright Young Women. Warning: graphic content is second Thursdays of each month. That is discussing graphic novels specifically. The next title is West of Sundown. Reads of Acceptance is the one that Angie and I co-facilitate, alternating. That is now on third Mondays of the month. It previously was on Thursdays, now it's on Mondays. Our next discussion title will be The World and All It Holds. And then there is also on third Mondays, the Asian American Literature Club, and they will be discussing The Mountains Sing.
Thank you, Ash. And we are in round 3. And my round 3 book is The Dictionary People, The Unsung Heroes Who Created the Oxford English Dictionary by Sarah Algive, nonfiction. This book is a quirky book and begins by outlining the relatively unknown history of the development of the Oxford English Dictionary. Much of the work of the initial editors was conducted in a large garden shed by hand, handwritten cards with words and definitions on them. The editors, including a Dr. James Murray, invited the public to mail them citations of words and to include examples of the word's use in a sentence. Over 3,000 people responded from all over the globe. As an ode to the alphabet, the book introduces 26 of these 3,000 individuals who contributed. So of interest, in the late 1800s, one individual contributed over 150,000 submissions. Some people made contributions over 28 years. And as late as 2010, a gentleman from Australia was making contributions. Issues of linguistics, public support, and historical investigation are all addressed in this book. The Dictionary People, The Unsung Heroes Who Created the Oxford English Dictionary by Sarah Algive.
My next pick is A Walk in the Park, the true story of a spectacular misadventure in the Grand Canyon by Kevin Fedarko, nonfiction. This book follows Kevin Fedarko as he chronicles an extraordinary 750-mile trek across the Grand Canyon, undertaken with his friend and photographer Pete McBride. What starts as a seemingly simple walk in the park turns into a harrowing, year-long journey through one of the toughest wildernesses on Earth. Fedarko and McBride battled dangerous cliffs, scorching heat, and limited resources while discovering the hidden corners of the canyon that few have ever seen. Along the way, they explore the deep history of the canyon's indigenous tribes and reflect on the importance of preserving such natural wonders. This adventure is as thrilling as it is enlightening, blending personal challenge with environmental advocacy. A Walk in the Park by Kevin Fedarko.
Wellness by Nathan Hill, fiction. Nathan Hill is said to be a modern-day John Irving, and I could not agree more. And wellness at its core is a love story. Elizabeth and Jack fall in love at first sight, but do they live happily ever after? As we move back and forth in time, we learn more about them as a couple. How their 20-year relationship is now as struggling young parents. We see them trying to reconnect by upgrading their house and discovering life hacks on the internet, or finding new adventures like trying out a sex club, but backfires horribly. It's about love, marriage, the families we choose, and the families we survive. Heartbreakingly humorous, this one's perfect for book clubs who thrive on character-driven novels. Wellness by Nathan Hill. Did you know that Noontime Books is the longest-running adult book group at the Central Branch? We discuss a variety of fiction and nonfiction titles, diverse in themes, characters, settings, time periods, and authorship. Led by rotating HCLS instructors, Noontime Books meets in person the third Thursday of the month at noon.
All right. My third round pick is The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, fiction. When lost, sit down and yell. That's the rule given out each year to incoming campers at a sleepaway camp in upstate New York. Owned by the wealthy Van Laar family, the camp has a troubled history. 14 years after the disappearance of their son, the Van Laar's 13-year-old daughter Barbara disappears from her bunk into the very same woods. Moore's narrators, the wealthy matriarch, the camp counselor, the female investigator, the bunkmate, are all multidimensional and richly developed, each providing insights into the mysterious disappearances at the center of this novel. The diverse backgrounds and perspectives of the characters allow space for conversations about class, gender roles, and identity. I loved this book. To me, it reminded me of putting together a jigsaw puzzle. Each short, addictive chapter felt like slotting another puzzle piece right into place. And as you get further and further into the book and become more immersed in the mystery, you don't want to put the book down. The pieces just go in more quickly. And then once you've turned the last page and put in that final piece, you'll sit there, ruminate on what you've read, and you'll want to linger in the detailed world that the author has created. The God of the Woods by Liz Moore.
My Beloved Monster, Masha, the Half-Wild Rescue Cat Who Rescued Me by Caleb Carr. Okay, I gotta say up front that you're gonna need a lot of tissues for this book. And the Kirkus Review says this is the best memoir about grief they've read in a long time, whether human or pet. And anyone who has a pet that is either their roommate, their soulmate, or their fur baby, this book is going to speak to you. It's geared towards people who have their feline friends in their life, but anyone who has ever had love for an animal will relate to this book and the relationship that Caleb Carr, the same Caleb Carr who wrote the very good Alienness, but also one of the darkest mysteries I've ever read. He explores his 17-year relationship with his cat and how his cat healed him and how this incredible bond they had. And I just I have no words for how effective this book is, and you will definitely feel emotions and need tissues. My Beloved Monster by Caleb Carr.
Madness, Race and Insanity in a Jim Crow Asylum by Antonia Hilton, nonfiction. In March of 1911, 12 Black men with mental illness were forced to help clear roads, harvest tobacco, and build an asylum in a wooded area near Annapolis. They then became its first patients. This was Maryland's Hospital for the Negro Insane, and later renamed Crownsville Hospital. As one of the last segregated asylums in America, this book shares its history through stories from its employees, patients, family, and neighbors. Hilton's writing is engaging, blending personal narrative with investigative journalism to create a multidimensional perspective on mental health challenges. The atrocities that took place among those walls are eye-opening, devastating, and shameful. And this book will leave you heartbroken. But boy, what an important story to tell. Madness by Antonia Hilton. If you like fantasy and magical realism, be sure to check out our upcoming virtual author event, where we will be featuring award-winning author Nnedi Okorafor, whose work on the Marvel Black Panther comic book series garnered international acclaim. This event takes place virtually on Friday, October 11th at 6:30 p.m., so be sure to register on our events page to attend.
And closing out our third round, my recommendation is How We Named the Stars by Andres and Orderica. If there is one book that I personally want you to really read after tonight, it is this one. Set at the beginning of college, the protagonist Daniel is a first-generation Mexican-American creative writing student who develops an unexpected closeness with his roommate, who is in pretty much any way on paper his opposite. Over the course of the novel, Daniel navigates his insecurities, queer desire, profound loss, and self-discovery. I don't want to give too much away about the plot. You can read the actual book blurb for a little more insight into it. But I can tell you, if you want the type of book that fills up your heart and then shatters it into pieces and then puts it back together again, this is the book for you. It is deeply tragic, but in a way that defies the tropes you might expect of queer or Latino characters, which was very welcome and refreshing. And while some of it is so heartbreaking, it is also so hopeful and beautiful. Orderica writes the type of atmospheric prose that I want to crawl into, curl up, and live inside of forever. And if I could go back in time and give my college-age self one book to read, it would be this one, How We Named the Stars by Andres and Orderica. That concludes our third round of recommendations. We will now be going into our wild card, which is books that may or may not be on the books for discussion list. Some of them are, and some of them are random other books that we really want to recommend to you.
Thank you, Ash. And with that introduction, my wild card is not on the Books for Discussion 2025 list. The name of the book is A Different Kind of Gone by Catherine Ryan Hyde, fiction. Norma is a part-time search and rescue volunteer leading a very quiet life with her horse and dogs. Her life, however, is upended when she rescues a young lady who does not want anyone to know that she's been found, particularly her abusive boyfriend. After contemplating the pros and cons, Norma helps her. 5 years later, the ex-boyfriend is charged with Jill's murder, despite a body never having been found. What is Norma to do? She knows the truth. What are Jill's parents to do? What does Jill do? Themes of domestic violence, family, public opinion, relationships, and the legal system are all raised in this novel, A Different Kind of Gone by Catherine Ryan Hyde.
My next pick is The Life Impossible by Matt Haig, fiction. Grace Winters, a retired math teacher, inherits a crumbling house on a remote Mediterranean island from an old friend that she barely knew. With no clear plan, she embarks on an unexpected journey to uncover the mysteries of her friend's life and the secrets hidden within the island itself. As Grace dives deeper into this world, she's faced with strange discoveries that challenge her understanding of the past. This enchanting tale blends mystery, self-discovery, and the hope that comes from embracing new adventures, proving that it's never too late to start again. The Life Impossible by Matt Haig.
Okay, my wild card is What Storm, What Thunder by Miriam J.A. Chauncey, fiction. At the end of a long, sweltering day in Port-au-Prince, a 7.0 magnitude earthquake shook the capital of Haiti to its core, killing more than 300,000 people and rattling the lives of millions. The novel brings to life the voices of the 2010 disaster, told from 10 different narratives, such as a wealthy expat with a secret daughter, or a small-time drug trafficker, to an immigrant taxi driver in Boston. Their stories highlight intense themes of poverty, race, colonization, loss, and the resilience of the human spirit. Named the best book of 2021 by Kirkus, NPR, and Library Journal, it was chosen as the One Maryland One book of 2024. What Storm, What Thunder by Miriam J.A. Chauncey.
Great. My wild card pick is not on our official list because it was released a few years ago. And my wild card pick is Trust by Hernan Diaz, fiction. Step back in time to the roaring 20s and the throes of the Great Depression in what I would describe as one of the most unique and satisfying reading experiences I've ever had. In this Pulitzer Prize-winning novel, Hernan Diaz inventively weaves the tale of Andrew Bevel, a secretive finance tycoon, and his philanthropic wife, Helen. This book is comprised of 4 parts: a novel, an unfinished biography, a memoir, and a journal. I know that may sound a bit intimidating, but trust me, it's worth the read. At the core of this novel are themes of extreme wealth and capitalism, rich and poor, truth and fiction. And Diaz really urges readers to put on their detective hats and search for the truth in the fiction. I discussed this book back in April with my group Eclectic Evenings, and it remains one of my favorite discussions because there was so much to unpack. There were so many theories and interpretations that everybody had, and it was so fun and enlightening to share them. We uncovered new clues and, possible connections between characters as we had our discussion. So not only was it an invigorating read, but also an invigorating discussion. Trust by Hernan Diaz.
Scandalous Women by Gil Paul. This was probably my favorite, or not my favorite, but my most fun read of the 4 I did. And it's because I have a very guilty pleasure love for Jacqueline Suzanne novels and some Jackie Collins novels. And I thought this was just a no frills, but discussable book because it looks at whether women's literature, especially back in the 60s, was so-called trash or if it had literary merit. And as far as anyone knows, Jacqueline Suzanne and Jackie Collins were not friends in real life, but the author does a beautiful job of making have a friendship, which she says in an interview, she wishes they had known each other in real life. Anyway, it's a wonderful read, and it's very underneath the casual writing and the exterior is the thought-provoking idea of who gets to decide what's women's literature value and so. And I highly recommend a YouTube interview I'd be glad to share the link with between a journalist from the 60s named Barbara Fromm and Jacqueline Suzanne giving it as good as she got. The best interview I've practically seen of an author defending their genre without coming across as a jerk. So if you want me to send the link in chat, just let me know. Scandalous Women by Gil Paul.
And my bonus round pick is The Swans of Harlem, which is on the 2025 books for discussion list. And this is by Karen Belby. And although many believe that Missy Copeland was the first Black principal dancer of ballet, it was actually Lydia Barca about 40 years prior. This book is a group biography of Abarca and 4 fellow extraordinary women and their experiences in the first Black ballet company, the Harlem Dance Company. We learned that when Carly Shelton first arrived and saw ballerinas spraying their shoes, their skin color, it was then that she knew that she was home. It shares Arthur Mitchell's vision to create a dance company in the midst of the civil rights movement, becoming ambassadors for infusion and inclusion, with their performances becoming their protests. Valby's writing is both insightful and well-researched, capturing the essence of these women's lives, highlighting their achievements and their challenges that they faced, as well as diving into their second act, their lives after their dance careers. And this is The Swans of Harlem by Karen Valby. And don't forget the author talk that Rohini mentioned earlier, and in exactly 1 week at our Miller branch, you can hear directly from Sheila Rowan, one of the founding members of the Dance Theater of Harlem. And it's at our Miller branch, Wednesday, October 9th from 7 to 8.
And rounding us out for the evening, our final recommendation from me, which is a wild card not on this books for discussion list, is The Mirror Season by Anna Marie McLemore. Inspired by the fairy tale of the Snow Queen, this is a YA novel that grapples with processing grief, guilt, shame, and the other complex emotions as a survivor of sexual violence. Protagonist Ciela is gradually forced to confront the extent of her trauma as she develops a personal connection with Locke, a boy who is assaulted at the same party she was. Stylistically, McLemore combines elements of YA contemporary fiction with magical realism, written in their signature lush prose with strong character development. Ciela and Locke truly feel like living, breathing people with real, raw, messy lives, and I will admit I actually made a playlist for them, for their relationship, when I read this book the first time a few years ago when it came out. The novel does not shy away from portraying the difficulties of PTSD, including nightmares and flashbacks. So definite trigger warnings for those, as well as the subject matter of sexual violence. But despite the heavy subject matter, this is ultimately a really empowering, healing story of resilience and growth. And we actually just discussed this in my book club, Reads of Acceptance, last month, which we had a really, really great discussion. And I enjoyed rereading the book just as much this time around as I did the initial time. So I can personally vouch and back up from my book club members, who I'm not sure if any of them are here, but if you are, hi, that this is a really good discussable book that has the crossover appeal both for like high schoolers as well as adults of all ages. The Mirror Season by Anna Marie McLemore. And that concludes all of our book recommendations for the evening. I think we're going to stop the recording now and go into questions. I know there were a few things in the chat as well as something in the Q&A. I remember seeing someone comment